If ever there was a bloke who was going to get a second go at coaching, it was always going to be Brett Ratten, although maybe he didn't think it was going to come his way, but everyone in the football world just knew that as a player, he was a superstar who did it all through heart, and as a coach, he was very much the same way. He joins us tonight, Rats, from home, and I love your wallpaper there, mate. That is magnificent. How are things, buddy?
Yeah, very good. We've got it all through the house, and to have Dare and Pepper Bunny and Deliveroo just splashed around all our walls at home is brilliant for the kids. They never forget it, so it's great.
Brett, we may as well ask you what we've been talking about at the start of the show. How do you feel about going and living with your footballers in a small skeleton crew in a hub? And how do you feel about your list being cut to potentially 38 next year and 35 the year after?
Yeah, they're the constant questions that have been going around the traps at clubs and from the AFL. From a hub point of view, personally, I think if it helps get the game back on track and we start playing games, I think it's really important that we do that. How is it set up? If we were in apartments and it was sort of hotel living, I think it would be very hard for players and for the staff as well. So I think the accommodation would be very critical, but hearing the comments about maybe bringing family and things like that, that could help some players and people, staff. So I think that could be very important long term if I think you've already said if somebody's actually, stuck there by themselves, they've got a partner that works or doesn't live in Victoria and, they can come with their partner, that would be brilliant. And I think all those things the AFL are trying to work out. And I think if we can get the game back on track, that's all the most important thing, I think, is to make sure that we do that, but we make sure our people are safe and their well-being is at the forefront.
Brett, in relation, Paddy McCartin really fascinates me with the story. So, well-documented concussion, but I read this week he's come out fully cleared, and no more risk than any other player, wants to play AFL, former number one pick, trained with you guys over summer. Do St Kilda want him back?
Well, we have to go through a fair bit of the testing, Ross, with the doctors because of the isolation. We haven't seen Paddy for a while, and since that round one game, we played on the Sunday, and then Monday everybody was exited out of the building. So we haven't had contact with Paddy. I know he's been travelling really well. He's been sort of hitting the tests that the marks that he has to get on his testing. So everything that he's doing is really good and it's positive. I think that's from a well-being and just living a normal life. I think we have to dig a bit further to see if he's ready to play AFL, and if he is, well, we'd consider him, but there needs to be more testing and our doctors need to have a look at him and make sure that he is 100% right.
Now, Brett, I hear you're doing a house reno. I've been told that Dan Hannabury's learning Spanish and 3 others are learning the guitar. Is that something that you would say to your players, go and find something else about yourself that could possibly even help them down the track with their mental health and their footy?
Yeah, that was just something that we said before they left, is we don't know how long we'll be isolated and separated from everybody. So try and do something that you love or learn something different. And, I don't know. I've caught up with Hannah's with his Spanish and he's got a bit of work to do. Hannah's with that, but it's really good. I think players are starting to find out a fair bit about themselves. Even some of the boys going back to their farms and helping out mum and dad, which has been brilliant. I know Rowan Marshall is down in Portland and helping out dad with the farm, and I think some of the relationships and how strong they'll get over this period will be even stronger. So with a negative, there's going to be some positives about the family relationships and people getting back together.
You've been coaching at a wealthy club at Hawthorn for quite some years. You've come to a club that will be an assisted club under the new AFL regime, Brett, and you'll be told how much money you can spend in the footy department. How many coaches do you need?
Oh, well, it's an interesting question. I think that's been bandied around, but the people that we have at our football club are quality people and been working very hard. And for them not to have a job because of the circumstances, global crisis that we have, is pretty unfair. So we'll try and do our utmost to keep our staff. We're one of the smaller staff's footy departments anyway. So for us, the cuts might not be quite as deep as some of the other clubs, and hopefully we can retain all our staff if possible. But we will find out in the coming days or weeks around the soft cap and where we sit with that.
Rats, you finally got the clipboard under your arm, mate, and you can't coach. It must be frustrating for you.
It is a little bit, but, you know, we know there's so many people that are hurting through this period, you know, businesses and families that don't have a job and things like that, their livelihood's been taken away. And, you know, our fans and our sponsors have been brilliant to support us. But, you know, I'm very fortunate. I know the job will start back at some point, and, you know, we just want to get back in there. You know, round one, I think I've watched that game about 3 times, and if I could take 5 minutes of footy out there or kick a bit straighter, it would have been brilliant. But it wasn't to be. But I think the realisation of, you know, the game we lost, and then within an hour, Gil's telling us that the game will cease, and you know, we have to all look after our health and well-being. So yeah, it was pretty real driving home after the game.
Good on you, Rats. We look forward to talking you through the course of the year, mate, and hopefully we'll be back playing footy not too far down the track. Good on you, mate.
No worries. Just wait. I hear a knock at the door, Ed.
What's going on?
What's your daughter? Your daughter's coming. What have you got, love? Deliveroo order. Oh. Thank you. Oh, I don't have a dare. You know, Maximon, beautiful.
Good
Brilliant.
stuff, mate. And I'm sure you're using Pepper money to pay for that renovation as well. Good on you, Ross. Good on you, Rats.
Good on you, everyone. Take care.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks, Brett.
Brett Ratten doing sight gags. That's fantastic, isn't it? Wonderful.